A 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, hello.
Serious rock talk back on the dial, traveling at a speed at 33 1/3 RPMs, where the vinyl will bring you to your new preferred listening destination. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Kennedy, and I'm in the studio with me today, my co-host and co-creator, a man who is a fan of England Dan and John Ford Coley.
Oh, yeah, great. Actually, I know them. They're great. What was their hit again?
I'd really love to see you tonight.
Very 70s band.
So, my good friend, this is a topic that you brought up to me. What are we doing, actually?
Well, we're going to call it Rock Masterpieces You Really Should Know About.
Or have in your collection.
Having your collection. Yes, you know what? That's almost better. Ferris, Kennedy, and I have worked up a few suggestions which we believe are indeed veritable rock masterpieces. And they may be called masterpieces for a variety of reasons, but often it has to do with the quality of the song. So let's keep that in mind. Off we go, Mr. Kennedy.
All right, so the first album that I'm going to mention is AC/DC's Back in Black.
Oh, sure, yeah.
This came out in July 25th, 1980, and it was produced by Mutt Lange. That's right, in the words of Brian Johnson, Mutt Lange. He calls him Mutt Lange. So, how did this happen? Well, unfortunately, Bon Scott had passed away in early 1980, and AC/DC was looking for a new singer at the time, and here comes Brian Johnson. And just from the start of it, Hell's Bells, Shoot the Thrill, What Do You Do for Money, Honey? Give a Dog a Bone, you know, Let Me Put My Love Into You. And then you go to the B-side, Shook Me All Night Long. You got Back in Black, Shook Me All Night Long, Have a Drink on Me, Rock and Roll, Ain't No Noise Pollution.
Oh, my God.
So that's what I have as my first one. Dr. Clarke?
My first one is The Band from 1969. With their eponymous album called The Band. This is their second album after, I think, Music from the Big Pink. This is one of those very, very strange albums where every song is really, really good. Across the Great Divide, Rag Mama Rag, The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, When You Awake, Up on Cripple Creek, Rockin' Chair, Unfaithful Servant, King Harvest. There's not a false note. There's not a misstep in this whole album. If you don't own a copy of this in any form, go out and get one, because it is roots rock at its best. That's 1969, The Band.
The next one I have is Bryan Adams' Reckless. Now, previously, Cuts Like a Knife just put him over, literally, as an, and then this album comes out November 5th, 1984, literally on his 25th birthday. And it was produced by Ian. Can you guess?
Rick Rubin.
Oh, I wish. That's close.
Kidding, yeah.
Actually, Bryan Adams produced it, but he also had help from Bob Clearmountain. Ring a bell?
Sure does. He produced a lot of guys.
So we got One Night Love Affair, She's Only Happy When She's Dancing, Run to You, Heaven, Somebody. Like, really? Let's turn it over to side B. Summer 69, Kids Wanna Rock, It's Only Love with Tina Turner. Come on! It's a banger. Ian, you've always said if you do an album of 10 songs, 8 have to be bangers.
Well, if they are, it's a classic.
Yeah.
And in what you just mentioned, he could have toured that for life. Right?
He should.
He probably should have, yeah.
He should, because after that,
Yeah, I thought that was kind of spotty. But no, everybody knows that album. It's a classic.
It's a very good album. What do you got next?
My next one is a band called The Beatles.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, 1966, Revolver. Now, I think it's up there. Depending on my mood, sometimes I go to Abbey Road, sometimes I go to Revolver. But when you read about the songs on Revolver, you have to sit down and think, this is not humanly possible. This was never done again. That's why they're called the best rock pop band in the history of our planet. This is just one album. Eleanor Rigby, I'm Only Sleeping, Here, There, Everywhere, Yellow Submarine, She Said, Good Day Sunshine, and Your Bird Can Sing, For No One, Dr. Robert, Got to Get You Into My Life, Tomorrow Never Knows. The quality of each of those, let's say, 3-minute operas, overtures, it's unbelievable. You can't make this up. Everybody knows this album. Who doesn't know Eleanor Rigby or For No One or Good Day Sunshine? It's a classic album. If you got to get a Beatles album, get this, or you might think of Abbey Road too.
Rubber Soul.
Do you like Rubber Soul?
I love Rubber Soul and Magical Mystery Tour. I don't know why. Sgt. Pepper, because my father played it, I like to say ad nauseum, because it was a good album.
Well, yeah.
But I know you and I, we had this discussion. Like, everyone says Sgt. Pepper because it's a default, right? No one's going to say "Please Please Me" or Beatles Not For Sale.
No. That's why the Beatles are fun. Everyone's got their own album.
Next album is the third studio album of Aerosmith, which is Toys in the Attic, and on April 8th, 1975 was when it came out. It celebrated 50 years already this year, and it was produced by Jack Douglas.
I don't know him. Jack, what else did he do?
Oh, you're now putting me on the spot. I have no idea. I just know he did 2 Aerosmith albums. So the album, okay, it's good. Toys in the Attic, Uncle Salty, Apple Pie, Whack This Way. And then you go to the B-side, Sweet.
Wow, is it on play? Oh, it's you.
Emotion. Like, how can it's a banger. And if you're in Quebec, they call it Les Jouets dans Grenier, Toys in the Attic.
It's obviously, in my opinion, their best album.
That one, and then when they came back, when Run DMC revived their career,
basically. Next up, I have David Bowie, or I heard someone say Bowie. Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars from 1972. Yeah, again, it's almost like the previously mentioned Beatles with Revolver and Abbey Road. I switch around thinking maybe Hunky Dory is his best album. I don't know. When I put this together, it was Ziggy Stardust. Ziggy Stardust, again, one of those albums, everything is good. The production's good. His chief guitarist, Mick Ronson, is excellent. Everything works. The songs, 5 Years, Soul of, Moon Age Daydream, Starman, It Ain't Easy, Lady Stardust, Hang On to Yourself, Ziggy Stardust is a Suffragette City, Rock and Roll Suicide. Everything is really, really good. And if you own a Bowie album, hopefully it's this one. It depends. Bowie went through so many phases. I think this is what made him a star. And often, as you see as we read these, it's this, not usually the first, but the second or third album, which is their best. Everyone's got so much in them, right? As they say. And I think this is Bowie's best.
That is a good album, actually. I also like the one, Let's Dance.
Yeah, that's a later one.
Got Modern Love on it.
Yeah, Modern Love, that's later.
Next one on my list, I got Black Sabbath, Paranoid. And originally, this was supposed to be titled War Pigs. And this came out September 18th, 1970. And this was actually produced by Roger Bain. And the interesting part about this album is that obviously it opens up at War Pigs, and then the song Paranoid, which is what the album was named after, that was a filler. They had 9 songs cut, and they had to put another song in there. And that was the last one they wrote, and it's like one of their biggest hits.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so good. Like, side 1, War Pigs, Paranoid, Planet Caravan, Iron Man. Like, stop. Just stop. Like, Electrical Funeral. That's like side B. Hands Down. Rat Salad. Okay. You got me at hello. Like, this is such a good album. And it is a masterpiece, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a metal masterpiece.
It is.
Next up, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Cosmos Factory from 1970. Poor John Fogerty. He had trouble with record companies. He had trouble with his band. And he did so much work in, 3 years? Really, 67 to 70. And I think Cosmos Factory is their best effort. Traveling band, looking out my back door, run through the jungle, up around the bend, who'll stop the rain, heard through the grapevine, long as I can see the light. This is all in one album. That's not really normal. That is so good. That's almost like a weird compression. They had some other good albums, but in my opinion, this is John Fogerty's songwriting at its best.
It's a very good album. That's the one that they were playing, like they were on a bicycle on the cover.
That's kind of weird.
So weird, yeah. The next one I'm going to talk about is Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet. And this is finally their third album where they kind of just knocked it out of the park. This came out August 18th, 1986, produced by Bruce Fairbairn.
Okay.
And it was recorded at Little Mountain Studio in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. So we actually got Bon Jovi out of Jersey all the way to Vancouver to record this.
Sure.
Man. And it starts off pretty good. Let It Rock, You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer, Wanted Dead or Alive. Flip it over, you got Raise Your Hands, Without Love, I Die for You, These Five Things. Come on, man. It's a banger.
Yeah, it's their best album, in my opinion.
It has to be.
It has to be
because it's their third album and they hit it. Again, that's another band that probably could have toured with it.
Yeah, they could have toured, and this the third, as I said, second or third. Certainly with Deep Purple, Machine Head wasn't their second or third album. 1972. People have always had trouble with Deep Purple. Are they metal? Are they heavy rock? I don't know. Probably somewhere in between. Songs like Highway Star, Smoke in the Water, Lazy, Space Truckin'. It is a really strong album. And a really tight touring band and great musicians. Ian Gillan singing. Everybody knows Smoke in the Water. But there's other great stuff on that album. Pick it up from 1972.
Next one we have was literally recorded in Tom Skoll's basement. That's where it was done. Debut album of Boston, which is self-titled Boston. August 25th, 76. Produced by John Boylan and Tom Scholes. And did you know that the album artwork is a guitar upside down?
I'm trying to picture it in my mind. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
But if you look, it's a guitar upside down. And look, More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, Foreplay / Long Time. It's such a good album. Their later stuff I wasn't too happy with.
They didn't have a lot of later stuff.
Like 4 albums, maybe?
Maybe tops, eh? They weren't that prolific because there's really one guy in his basement. Right? Literally. And he was a recording engineer. Probably some kind of weird genius. Great guitar player, but he was the guy.
And he literally he struck gold with one album.
I know. And it was the first, as I said, first or second, now sometimes third, you hit it. Certainly the Doors did, well, in my opinion, 1967 with their debut album. I mean, it's often referred to as the best debut album of a major rock band. And it is so good, it is scary. 1967, as I said, Soul Kitchen, The Crystal Ship, 20th Century Fox, Alabama song, Light My Fire, Backdoor Man, I Looked at You, End of the Night, Take It As It Comes, and of course, The End. This is a masterpiece. And sometimes people will say, what about their last album, L.A. Woman? Yeah, again, it's one of those mood things. L.A. Woman, in a way, is more of a mature album. This is really good songwriting, their debut album. If you're interested in the Doors, most people know about Jim Morrison. I would suggest starting with this one and then hopping maybe to the last one. No band is like that where you have those kind of bookends. Very rare. Anyway, check out the Doors from 67.
The next one, we got Def Leppard's Hysteria, which came out August 3rd, 1987. And again, this is one of those albums, like it's a follow-up to Pyromania, so you gotta really, really make it happen because they already struck gold with Pyromania. And this, Rick Allen had already lost his arm in a car accident, so he had to kind of reinvent himself, so they waited for him. And you know who produced this album, Ian?
There you go, your buddy.
Yeah, I love Mutt Lange. And it starts off well. You got, Rocket, Animal, Love Bites, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Armageddon. It just goes on. Love and Affection as the last track on the B-side. This again is a classic album. It's just Def Leppard at its best.
I'm going to talk about the Eagles' 1976 Hotel California because why not, right? For those of us that were there, this album when I think of the 1970s, this is what kind of emanates. Hotel California, even the cover of this album is iconic. It is ridiculous. The song Hotel California, New Kid in Town, Life in the Fast Lane, Wasted Time, Victim of Love. The songwriting is really strong. The singing's great. They're great musicians, but they're great songwriters. But this is West Coast 1970s. I'm surprised that like little bags of cocaine didn't follow the cover. Like it's all there. If you're interested almost in that kind of experience of the 70s and the West Coast and the LA feeling, pick it up. You'll already know some songs on it. You can't avoid it. It was an amazing and remains an amazing album.
The next one we got right here is the debut album of Dio. So Ronnie James Dio has his self-titled album called Dio, which came out May 25th, 1983, and it was produced by Ronnie James Dio himself. And just from the start, this is right after his Sabbath stint. So Ronnie James Dio started off in Rainbow, as everyone knows. Then he went to Sabbath, and then did 2 albums with Sabbath, and then did his own thing, and he has Stand Up and Shout, Holy Diver, Gypsy, Caught in the Middle, Don't Talk to Strangers. Then you flip it on side B, you got Straight Through the Heart, Invisible, Rainbow in the Dark, Shame of the Night. Like, exact 9 songs he had, just 9. And the whole album is good from start to finish.
Again, it's that's why they're called masterpieces, right? Like the next one I'm mentioning, everybody knows. It's so obvious, but I gotta say it, or you will think, oh my God, they missed that one. Rumors, 1977, Fleetwood Mac. Okay, in my opinion, this is a perfect album. People have often said, like, The Great Gatsby's a perfect novel. This is a perfect album. Secondhand News, Dreams, Never Going Back Again, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, Songbird, The Chain, You Make Love, Loving Fun, I Don't Want to Know, Oh Daddy, Gold Dust Woman. Everything is really, really good. Buckingham Nicks are at their pinnacle. The band kicks in. I never, ever get tired of listening to Rumors. And it came out, in a way, a long time ago. It is a remarkable album.
Which leads me now to going to July 21st, 1987, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, produced by Mike Klink. Listen, from the start, Welcome to the Jungle, It's So Easy, Night Train, Out to Get Me, Mr. Brownstone, Paradise City, Flip It Over, My Michelle, no, it's not the Beatles rendition one, Sweet Child of Mine, You're Crazy, Rocket Queen. Again, this is where Axl Rose came out, Izzy Stradlin, Slash, Steve Adler, one of the probably their best drummer that they had. He only did a couple of years with them, and then after that he got the boot. But doesn't matter. He was still a good drummer. He was a pinnacle part. These guys were pinnacle for this album. Duff McKagan. Duff McKagan is the glue guy of GNR. That's the reason why these guys put out some albums. It's because of Duff.
It's true.
Duff was level-headed and said, okay, Slash, Axl, you got to be friends. It's for the band. You just got to do it. After you're done, go home, your separate ways, and that's it.
It's true. Yeah, he's known for that. I'm going to go with Peter Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive, 1976. As far as I know, still the best-selling live album of all time, if that means anything. Double album, actually. Peter Frampton's interesting. Great guitarist. He's with Humble Pie. That went off on his own. Had 2 or 3 albums, as far as I know, maybe 4, that went nowhere. And then in 76, he comes out with Frampton Comes Alive. And Rumors, everyone had this album. He bottled Magic, Show Me the Way, All I Want to Be, Baby I Love Your Way, Do You Feel Like We Do. And he never got close to it again. But for that double album, for that moment, he nailed it. And I'm sure you've probably heard patches of it here and there. It's a puzzling album, because you can hear versions of these songs, studio versions, and it's not the same energy. I don't know how he did it, but he did it, and it made him forever. Frampton Comes Alive from 1976.
And which leads me to Led Zeppelin 4, which came out November 8th, 71, and produced by Jimmy Page. Listen, this is the... They said their third album was mostly acoustic, whatever. You come out with this, Black Dog, Rock and Roll, The Battle of Evermore, Stairway to Heaven. Just stop right there. No, let's flip the side over. Misty Mountain Hop, Four Sticks, Going to California, When the Levee Breaks. That is 8 songs, Ian. Knockouts.
Well, I think it's their best album. Like,
Yes, it is their best album, and people know me. I probably my favorite album is "How's the Holy" and "In Throughout the
Outdoor," yeah.
In Through the Outdoor. But like, I can't even pronounce it, and I have like 3 copies of it because there's different artwork to it. But at the end of the day, like 4, you can't go wrong with 4. You can't go wrong with 2. 1 was good too. 3, I'm on the fence, but it doesn't matter. 4, 8 songs in, and it's got to be 100%, right?
100%. I'm going to go with Janis Joplin, the Pearl album from 1971. Sadly, she didn't live long enough to see it released. Cry Baby, Buried Alive in the Blues, Me and Bobby McGee, Mercedes-Benz, Trust Me, Get It While You Can. It is a really good album. She arranged these songs, by the way. The trivia on that is they did the instrumental Buried Alive in the Blues. Janis was to record the vocal the next day, but she had died the previous evening. And there's a poignancy to this album, and I think it was produced by Paul Rothchild, who used to produce, before that rather, the Doors. And I think they were an item, those two back then. And he just did a great job. Very minimalist, very direct. And I think it's Janis Joplin her best. I think she only had 2 studio albums. And, of course, 300 bootlegs.
Or the Big Chills one? Or Big Thrills? Cheap Thrills.
Cheap Thrills, yeah. Anyway, it's excellent.
Next one, Ian, this one here, you and I have talked about it, how much of a good album it is.
What's that?
Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell.
Oh, yeah.
And I see a lot of stuff with Meatloaf. Jim Steinman does artwork and co-writes with Meatloaf.
Well, really wrote. He was the co-writer.
Yeah. And it was produced by Todd Rundgren. And again, from the start, Bad Out of Hell, you took the words right out of my mouth. Heaven Can Wait, all revved up. No, please to go. And then you flip it over. 2 out of 3. Like, come on. Paradise by a Dashboard Light?
Yeah, basically it's a rock opera. I'm surprised someone has done that, put into a rock opera. It is a really good album, and you'll never get tired of it. He never came close again. He tried Bad Out of Hell 2, etc. Never came close again.
Bad Out of Hell 2 had 2 hits.
Yeah.
And that was pretty well. Then he did Bad Out of Hell 3. I guess he couldn't really think of other titles to come up with it.
Yeah, really.
But I guess he just lived off one album.
Basically, yeah, because it's so good.
And then Jim Steinman, he's all over the place.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about.
They're both gone now, but yeah, they were a dynamic duo. I'm going to talk about Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced, 1967. I think Hendrix had 3 studio albums and 700 bootlegs. This is the first one. This is an important album, actually, in rock history. But aside from that, great songs: Foxy Lady, Manic Depression, Red House, Lover Confusion, Fire, Third Stone from the Sun, Remember. That's a beautiful song. Are You Experienced? This set kind of the pattern of the Jimi Hendrix sound. The feedback, the kind of spacey lyrics, great support from the Experience. His band, it was a trio. And there's not a false step on it. I think it's Jimi Hendrix's best collected work, so to speak. And be careful of all the stuff that was released after he died. I'm always suspicious of stuff that he didn't authorize. And not all of it's that great. And the bootlegs, some of it's just awful. But this is a great album, 1967.
The next one is, if there's one band that could do back to back to back to back to back banging albums, it's Metallica. And when you think of Metallica, you think of the Black Album. Yeah, that went mainstream 5 years after this one came out, of Master of Puppets, which came out March 3rd, 1986, and it was produced by Flemming Rasmussen, Swedish producer. And just from the start, Battery, Masters of Puppets, The Things That Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Sanitarium. Like, come on, like, in the words of Wheeler, at 8, you're killing me here. It's just so good. Flip it over, and you're going Disposable Heroes, Leaper Messiah, Orion. It's just a good album. I have this album on vinyl. Actually, majority of these albums we talk about I have on vinyl. I have this one on vinyl, and I even went and buy the repress of the redone on 45.
Oh, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. Ian, the sound is just insane. It is such a good album. Like, Master of Puppets is a great album. probably is my favorite. That or Ride the Lightning. The Black Album's great. That's more commercial, but this one's got to be. It's in the top.
Everybody knows it, right?
Master of Puppets.
Just this the title, yeah.
Yeah.
My next is Jefferson Airplane, Surrealistic Pillow from 1967, which I just bought on very heavy vinyl. This is my original copy, vanished at some party. Yeah, Somebody to Love, Embryonic Journey, White Rabbit, Plastic Fantastic Lover. This, in my opinion, is Jefferson Airplane, not Starship, Airplane's best album. They're an important band. This is an important album. If you're interested in 60s music, the San Francisco sound, strongly suggest picking it up.
Now we're moving into, my grunge era, where Nirvana's Nevermind, which came out on September 24th, 1991, and it was produced by Butch Vig. This is really their second album, and this is where Dave Grohl comes into play to replace Chad Channing as a drummer. Right from the start, Smells Like Teen Spirit, In Bloom, Come As You Are, Breed, Lithium, Polly, Territorial Pissings on Side B, Drain You, Lounge Act, Stay Away, On a Plane, Something in a Way, and then even have like an endless, nameless hidden track, which is kind of interesting. And a lot of bands did that in the 90s, I found.
Yeah.
They copied the Beatles, really. The Beatles started
the last track, yeah.
Yeah, the last track is like you wait 10 minutes, also the song
I know.
pops up, So this, again, is probably one of my favorite albums, probably one of the top trio bands out there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, really.
They are, and I literally had this album 5 times. Don't ask me why. I kept forgetting that I had it and I bought it. So,
Good for you.
yeah.
No, it's a classic.
It's a classic.
My next, Jethro Tull, Aqualung from 71. This album, actually, I did wear out. It is a really, really strong album. Aqualung, Cross-Eyed Mary, Wondering Aloud, My God, Hymn 43, Slipstream, Locomotive Breath, and Wind Up. Ian Anderson was peaking then. I know guys that will choose different Tull albums because they put out so much. But for me, this is the essence of what Jethro Tull was or is, with the flute, with the more profound lyrics, the social conscience, great riffs like Locomotive Breath, great singing, orchestrations. Pick it up. Jethro Tull, Aqualung from 71.
Is that another trio band?
No.
No? Okay.
No, a bunch of guys.
Bunch of guys. So, Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz, September 12th, 1980 in the UK. And then it was released March 27th, 81 in the US. Ian, I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, there are a bunch of reasons. That's almost another show. The Beatles albums. Sometimes the Beatles album is released in the UK, and it's a different lineup of songs in the US.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, this album actually was produced by Ozzy himself, Randy Rhoads, Bib Daisley, and Lee Kirkslake. Basically, the whole band itself. And the funny thing is that after he was booted from Black Sabbath, nobody was sure of his future. Well, let me tell you. He did all right with, opening up with I Don't Know, and then Crazy Train, Goodbye to Romance, D, which is a instrumental 50 seconds of Randy Rhoads just playing the guitar. Suicide Solution, you flip it over, you got Mr. Crowley. Like, hello. Like, this song.
I don't know why also, as you mentioned, I don't know why Randy Rhoads isn't better known. He was a really amazing guitar player. And you'll hear about him now and then kind of as a reflex. But he's up there with the greats. He really is.
He passed away at a young age.
I know.
It was sad. And that still bothers Ozzy. Like, he can never get over that. That was his best friend.
Well, it's the most freakish accent.
It was weird.
You can't even make that up.
It was weird.
It's super weird.
And the same thing that happened to Cliff Burton and Metallica.
Yeah, I know.
Similar. Is that crazy?
Next up, I have what I think is the best double album ever recorded in popular music. And that's Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road from 1973. I say that because this is a double album, so let's say 80 minutes of music, roughly, and every song is great. And I'm gonna, if you bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, I'll repeat them. Why not? I'll go through the list. Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding, Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, This Song Is No Title, Grace Hill, Jamaica Jerkoff. I've seen that movie too. Sweet Painted Lady, The Ballad of Danny Bailey, Dirty Little Girl, All the Girls Love Alice, Your Sister Can't Dance, or Twist rather, but She Can Rock and Roll, Roy Rogers, Social Disease, and Harmony.
Stop.
I mean, this is like...
It's amazing.
And as Elton John said later, he never got close again. I don't know what was in the... Well, they recorded a lot of this in Chateau in France. I don't know what those two, Toppin and Elton, were up to. what was in the water, but you will never ever get sick of these songs. I mean, he didn't have to write anything else. Of course he did. You could just go through it, the life as a concert guy doing these songs, 17 of them.
So you could do a whole concert just on one album.
Yeah, why not? It's 80 minutes, then pad it a bit. You've got an hour and a half. So that's from 73.
Well, the next album we got here is another one that was released in that grunge era in 1991. And this is basically August 2nd, 1991, which is an album produced by Rick Parashar, Pearl Jam 10. Right from the start, Ones, Even Flow, Alive, Why Go, Black, Jeremy, Flip It Over, Let's Go to Oceans. Why not have Eddie Vedder belt out some more tunes, And then again, here we go with the hidden track 11. It's called Release, but it's hidden. Like I don't understand why they were like. This is two grunge bands we're talking about in a row that just.
I don't know why. I guess they're like. Well, Cobain loved the Beatles, so.
Yes, he did.
So what I mean, why it's a kind of a homage, right?
Remember, like I said, the guys that came out in the grunge era literally had 30 years of musical influence to learn off of.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
it's true. Well, speaking of the Beatles, my next one is John Lennon, his first post-Beatles album, simply called John Lennon Plastic Ono Band from 1970. One of our previous episodes, Mr. Kennedy and I kind of ruminated, what if the Beatles had lasted another year? What would they have released? Well, when you look at what they did release in the following year after they broke up, roughly 1970, 69, it's all pretty good, especially Lennon. I think this is his best album. Mother, Hold On, I Found Out, Working Class Hero, Remember, Love, Well, 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 God. Like it's so personal. It's almost like Joni Mitchell's Blue Album. This is very personal, but they're great melodies. It's not overdone. Later on, there was kind of a tendency to overproduce, I thought, with a lot of Lennon stuff. This is Lennon at his best.
So next we got Rush. That's their 8th studio album that came out, which is Moving Pictures. Probably one of their best albums. Fly By Night was pretty good too, but this one here, you open it up with Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, a tribute to Pearson Airport with the code of YYZ.
Oh, yeah.
Limelight. You flip it over and you got 3 songs, but literally those 3 songs are like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
it's long.
Very Rush. Yeah.
It's very Rush. They're, Hemispheres is known for that. That's how they do things. But this is a very good album, actually. And I enjoy this. I appreciate this album. A lot of you that's seen our podcast videos on Instagram, whether it's my personal account or the Serious Rock Talk account, I open up with a few videos with Tom Sawyer.
Amazing they shut you down.
Yeah.
My next is Paul McCartney, Band on the Run from 73. After the Beatles, to this day, Paul McCartney has released a ton of music. In my opinion, compared to the Beatles, most of it is mediocre. And I know that's a pretty high bar he's being compared to, but he is extremely talented. I get the feeling he's put out too much. That's McCartney, though. He is a workaholic. In 73, he put out Band on the Run, and I think it's his best effort. It has the reputation, so I'm not really going on a branch here. Band on the Run's on, of course, Jet, Bluebird, Mrs. Vanderbilt, Let Me Roll It, Pneumonia, No Words, Picasso's Last Words, 1985 is the last cut. Every song is really good. It's not overdone. It's kind of an acoustic vibe to it on some songs. Others have a great orchestration. I think it's his best, and that says a lot because he's so ridiculously gifted.
So when I spoke about Rush, which was produced by Terry Brown, we're moving now to Soundgarden, which was produced by Michael Beinhorn. March 8th, 1994, Super Unknown, Soundgarden. And this was the most grunge-era records sound dated and dull these days, but Soundgarden came through this breakthrough LP. Credit the band's canny use of studio tricks and Beatlesque melodies. This is how they made this album such a knockout that other people tried to copy Super Unknown's appeal, but it kind of failed. And you got a couple of good songs on here, quite a few actually. My Way, Fell on Black Days, Super Unknown, Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man. And then they have 16 tracks in total on this album. And again, they said there's a bonus track called She Likes Surprises, and it's only a bonus track on the international CD and LP.
Cute.
So I don't know, I guess they want to appeal more to the, I guess, forget Canada, USA. at the time. I don't
Or
know.
there's being smart Alex. Yeah, who knows? It's kind of goofy.
That's probably their manager or producer.
It's kind of a goofy. Whatever. My next is Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, of course, 1973. This album is so iconic. It's really difficult to talk about it head on, so to speak, but everything is great about it. I won't even list the songs. It doesn't matter. Let it be known that it's one of the best-selling albums of all time. It still sells because new generations discover it. I think it's their best album, without a doubt. A few come close in a way. I just think it's an outstanding. The production is exciting, and the sound effects are exciting. Everything works on The Dark Side of the Moon. That's from way back in 1973.
The next album, it's same genre, but not the same type of album. Supertramp's Breakfast in America. That's their sixth album that made them belated stars. Obviously, this is I find more their commercial album.
Yeah.
This is the one, I love this album, and Ian and I, we've talked, and listen, Crime of the Century is a great album, and my father will say the same thing. But this is the album actually my father got me introduced to, which was Breakfast in America, and then he flipped me into The Quietest Moments. Yeah. But this album alone, now this album, Ian, came out on March 16, 1979, produced by Peter Henderson. Does that ring a bell to you?
No.
Well, he was actually Jeff Emmerich's assistant.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, interesting little trivia there. So that came out the day before St. Patty's Day in 1979, and you start off with Gone Hollywood, the logical song. Like Roger Hodgson had just this unique sound, a unique voice. You got Breakfast in America, Oh Darling. You flip it over, Take the Long Way Home. Like,
no, it's a good album.
It's a very good album.
Yeah.
And we've always discussed, which ones Ian prefers Crime of the Century.
I just do. I think it's
And Crime of the Century is a good album too.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And then this one here it's a nice little banger.
Again, it's amazing where people don't know Supertramp, but I know they've been broken up for a while.
Well,
but
he's gone.
No,
Davies is still going.
Yeah, kind of.
But it's not the same.
It's not the
You
same.
need his voice. Yeah.
My next is The Velvet Underground and Nico from 1967. This is, well, I'll get to the actual content, but this is always known as one of the most influential albums of all time. When you listen to this album, it's hard to believe it's from 1967. It sounds so contemporary. The Velvet Underground had that touch, and it's a strange magic they have. Nico was a German model. She was in a Fellini film. She was a different type of person. She sang, I'll call it that. I'm not sure she could even keep on key, but boy did she have a presence. So songs like I'm Waiting for the Man, Sunday Morning, what a great song, Femme Fatale, Venus and Furs. These are all amazing. I'll Be Your Mirror. Like, if you're interested in seminal albums, pick up this one from 1967, Velvet Underground and Nico, and everyone knows the cover, of course, the banana.
Now, the next album, if there's one album that could literally cement your legacy into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, look no further. It's the fifth album by U2, The Joshua Tree, March 9th, 1987, which was produced, Ian, by Daniel Lanois and Brian Eno.
That's true. I know, it's weird.
And just starting it from the start, Where the Streets Have No Name, I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, With or Without You, Bullet the Blue Sky, Running to Stand Still, Flip It Over, boom, Red Mill Mining Town, In God's Country, Trip Through Your Wires, One Tree Hill Exit, and then Mothers of the Disappeared. Like, this album alone, like, say what you want about U2, but I like U2, and I respect Bono, or Bono Vox as he went by.
Bono Vox, yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's such a good band, and this album, it is literally their best album.
And actually, they found out what Bono was looking for. It was his car keys. That's what he was looking for.
I still haven't
Oh my
found
God, you're on the wrong job.
what I'm looking for.
An angel came in the studio.
Oh, really? No, it's like the friggin' devil that came in.
Okay, The Who's Next from 1971. I debated this with Quadrophenia, really. Again, it's one of those mood things. Quadrophenia is almost a more interesting album, but the songs on Who's Next are ridiculously popular and strong. You know, Baba O'Reilly, Bargain, Love Ain't for Keepin', My Wife, The Song Is Over, Getting in Tune, Going Mobile, Behind Blue Eyes, Won't Get Fooled Again. Okay, like this is actually
It's like a greatest hits.
Yeah, I'm gonna say when you see the Who in concert, I've seen them 3 times. This is really half of this is what they play, because everybody knows them, and it's iconic. And I really think it was Townsend. I'll say it was his masterpiece. Quadrophenia is different. It really is. I think it's better than Tommy. It's like a rock opera. So take your pick.
I was going to mention that Tommy wasn't on there. I'm surprised.
I never really enjoyed Tommy. I thought it was kind of forced, really. And I know it's a big deal and this and that. I think Quadrophenia is a better album, better songs.
And this one here has the album artwork where it looks like they're standing in front of like a Stonehenge thing, like it's like a
That's
wall.
it.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. So the one that I have here, I got Van Halen, and their debut album. If you could ever see a band that was never more looser and more fun on their self-titled debut album in 1978, well, look no further. This album was produced February 10th, released February 10th, 1978, produced by Ted Templeman. And it starts off with Run with the Devil, Eruption, The Kinks cover You Really Got Me, Ain't Talking About Love, and then, Jamie's Crying. You flip it over. And here's one that I really love this song. I didn't know, but Ian, I think you'll know this one. Ice Cream Man, which was a John Brim cover.
Yeah, really. I know this album. I was there when it came out. I was at university, and the guy in the hall played it ad nauseum. And so I think I know every song. It's a really strong. I think it's their best album, but again, one of those first album things.
And then they go to 1984 again, more commercial.
More commercial, yeah.
And then you hit a couple of albums with Sammy Hagar. Balance is really good, but it was heavy. And then for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, I consider that one more modern rock. And
It's true. My final one, folks, for this episode is a guy I probably have. I won't say hate, a dislike, and that's Neil Young. The album's called After the Gold Rush, 1970, and it is, I think, is his best. Second best would be Harvest, which I think came out the next year. Neil Young's songs even when he's rocking, tend to be sad. Tell Me Why, After the Gold Rush, Only Love Can Break Your Heart, Southern Man, Till the Morning Comes. These are great songs. Oh, Lonesome Me, Don't Let It Bring You Down. When You Dance, I Can Really Love. Cripple Creek Ferry, everybody knows this is his strongest album in my opinion. 1970, he was a young guy, and he just nailed it with this album. It's very simple, extremely acoustic, and I think it's Neil Young at his peak.
This is why they want to rename Canadian rock
Neil Young's music.
Some have said
Not many, but some. Like 3 people.
It's me. I started the rumor.
Oh, good for you.
I love Neil Young. I do.
Yeah, you like him probably more. You like him more than me. I like some of the hits since then, or hit songs. But for an album, this is a masterpiece. And folks, that's what we've been talking about today is
The masterpieces.
Rock masterpieces. So rock masterpieces you really should know about.
And you should
now
have them in
you
your collection.
do.
Yeah, and have them in your collection.
Have them in your collection. Thanks for joining us. It's been quite a ride. Keep sending those emails in. What's their address anyway?
SeriousRockTalk@yahoo.com.
At yahoo.com. Look forward to seeing them, and we'll do a show on your suggestion, maybe. Anyway, thanks for listening in. I'm Dr. Ian Clarke.
I'm Ferris Kennedy saying good night.
And au revoir.
Bye.